Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, and also welcome back to our book club. Now, if you missed our last video, my friend Katie and I have started up a book club again, just because we want to encourage ourselves to read, and it would be nice if you wanted to join in too. Hopefully you'll read along with us. But our first book that we picked was Normal People by Sally Rooney. I've read it, she's read it, and this is what we think. So to make these videos more of a benchmark for every book, and also make it easier for yourselves to join in if you want to, we have devised a series of 10 questions that we're going to answer about every single book that we read, and we can rate them as well, and then we will leave them down in the description bar below. So if you want to join in and leave your answers in the comments, then you can do, and it kind of opens up a bit more of a discussion then, rather than us just going, I liked it, I didn't like it, next. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to get into those questions really quickly so this video is not too long. Now, the first question, first up, what did you think of the book? Now, I don't know whether I liked it or not. I feel like I did like it, but I wasn't like blown away. I read it really quickly. I actually read it while we were away on holiday, and I read it in less than 24 hours. So I started one evening when the kids were in bed, and I finished the next, and it literally took me no time at all, because like once I'd finished it, I was playing like Rummy Cup with Mark and having like rum and cokes out on the decking. It was very nice, but I felt really like driven to want to finish it. I wanted to know what was going to happen, but I kind of got to the end and I was a bit like, oh, okay then. And I don't know what that says about the book. I'm not sure. I mean, it's all personal opinion, isn't it? But it just felt like it was very well written, but I didn't really feel like it ended up anywhere. You'll have to let me know what you think. Next question is, what did you think of the characters? Now, one thing that I have to give it credit for, and I think this is probably why it was so easy to read and I wanted to read it, is that I felt like the character development was really good, and there weren't too many characters, but there were enough to add like depth and a bit of context, and I felt like I understood what was happening, but I didn't feel like I was trying to follow about 50 people on their journey through life. It was very focused on the two main characters, which was Connell and Marianne, and I loved that. I loved following their relationship, and I did think character development was really good. Following on from that, the next question is, who was your favourite character? And for me, I would probably have to say Connell, because Marianne was, I just didn't, like, I felt bad for her and I liked her, but you know when like the same people, some people just don't help themselves. She was that kind of character, and I found some of the bits like quite sad with her, or like confusing with her, and especially when it came into like relationships and sort of her liking to be dominated, and almost her like feeling more comfortable in an abusive relationship. I don't know if it was just because it was quite shocking, quite jarring for me, like I just didn't relate, and I didn't really like the way that she treated him, but at the same time it's not like I hated her. I thought she was a really nice character, but just had been dealt a really bad hand. As for Connell, I related because he just seemed like a much more simple person. It was very sort of black and white for him, and I thought that like he did redeem himself quite well, given like the mistakes he made as a teenager versus like how he was acting around Marianne as an adult. I loved the fact that their lives turned like a 180 or a 360, I don't know, but you know what I mean. She started out as an unpopular girl at school, and he was very popular, whereas as they progressed and went through university and became young adults, the tables turned, and I loved seeing those different sides of each of them. I thought it was fantastic, but he was definitely my favourite. The next question is, what did you think the main themes of the book were? And I felt, for me, it was mainly predominantly relationships and the effect of your past on your future. And I think that they're themes for a lot of books, but this was very focused on the way that a certain relationship matured, and how like love can be right sometimes and it can just be really badly timed. It also looked a lot at class and the division between like social statuses and what is you know, possible for some people and what isn't possible for others. And I loved how it held up a bit of a looking glass to society and looked at how different people have different starts in life and how the achievement of a certain thing can mean completely different things to different people. So hello there. You might notice that this has changed a little bit because Stan's here with me and I'm on a different chair because I was editing this because I'm trying to get it ready for Sunday morning, and it's Friday afternoon when I'm doing this, and I realised that the next two questions were just really blurry. For some reason it was trying to focus on this bit back here, so I'm filming this very quickly now so I'm not giving you an incomplete review. So really quickly, the ones that were missed out were, what did you think of the ending? Now I kind of touched on this. I felt like the ending was too open for me, and I always get so frustrated, and I find that I sit there. Yes, I do. I find that I sit there and I brood over it, and I sit there and try to imagine what the ending would be. Yeah, do you do that too? Yeah, so that's my answer for that one. And then the next question was, how did the book make you feel once you'd finished it? How did it make you feel? I don't know, Mum, because I didn't read it because I can't read yet. But yeah, it made me feel kind of like, I think I've already touched on it a bit, like, oh. It wasn't I wasn't disappointed. I don't know. I sometimes feel like exactly that. Like when I sit back and I finish the book, I want to go, oh, that was really good. Or I learned something from that, or I took something from that. And I feel like it was really insightful, but I wasn't like, oh, I've got to recommend that to my friend, or like pass that on to such and such, or like Mark's mum, or give it to Suzanne or whatever. I was just a bit like, well, like, I'm glad I read it and it was a good read, and like I read it quickly, but it didn't go like straight up to the list. But back to the rest of the filming. The next question is, how long did it take you to read? And as I've already said, it was less than 24 hours. I have to say, if I probably put a timer on it, it probably took me about 4 hours to read, something like that. It isn't the biggest book and the font isn't like teeny tiny, and I just felt quite gripped by it. The next question that we've chosen is, would you recommend to a friend? And I think, yeah, I would, but I think that I would only recommend it to certain friends. I think that, especially when you know people really well, you know what their kind of like book interests are or life interests are, and I feel like this book for some people might actually be quite an awkward read, because there are some scenes that include like violence and sexual violence and like dominating a relationship and gaslighting and that kind of thing. So I feel like for some people they'd just be like, why would you even recommend this to me? Whereas I feel like other people would, at least in my friendship group and my social circle, would be really interested in reading something like this. So I do feel like it's not one of those like, you have to read it. It's one of those like, yeah, I think you quite like this. It's quite challenging, looks at loads of different topics. Give it a go, tell me what you think. Then the next question is, would I read any more books from this author? And I have to say a resounding yes, because I do love the way that Sally Rooney writes. I've never read anything from her before, and I did obviously enjoy reading the book, otherwise I wouldn't have read it so quickly, I don't think. If I struggle to get into a book, it can take me ages to read it, but when I'm actually quite enjoying the way it's written and the character development, the plot, that kind of thing, then I will read it quite quickly. So I have to say that I obviously enjoy something about it, and I would definitely give some more books of hers another go. And then the final question is, how many stars would you give it out of 5? And I am going to say that I'm going to give it 3.5 stars, because I still don't know, I'm still a bit on the fence about it. I can't say that I hated it, but I can't say that like I'm passionately in love with this book or anything like that. It was a really nice read, but I felt like the ending was very open, which is something of a frustration for me, I've got to say. I like to know everything that happens, like the ending of Game of Thrones. I just don't. But this is kind of the same similar theme. I feel like it was a very poetic and appropriate ending in a way, but I was a bit frustrated, like, oh, come on. And I don't want to say too much if you haven't read it yet, so definitely if what I've said has sort of spurred you on to give it a read, definitely give it a go. And then when you finish with this video, head on over to Katie's video. I will also leave that down below, because I'm going to go and watch that now so I can see what she thinks, and just see how like we compare in terms of like what we like to read and what we enjoyed and what we didn't enjoy. I think it's a really fun way to do it. And then obviously if you want to leave your thoughts down below, definitely do that. The questions are there for you to copy and paste and answer as you wish. So this is the most choppy video that I've done in a while, but I had to get it filmed earlier because of my kids, and Katie and I have been debating over the next book that we're going to choose, and we have decided, with her suggestion, I think it's a really, really good one, to go for The Prison Doctor by Dr. Amanda Brown. So if you want to know what this is, it basically follows a doctor, Dr. Amanda Brown, and she's a GP at the largest women-only prison in Europe, which is Bronzefield. And this book is basically about her time in Britain's most notorious jails. So it's a bit challenging, it's a little bit different, but I'm so curious to see what it's like, and I think it'll be a really interesting read. So who is going to join in and read it? I'm quite excited about this one, but don't forget that with every video that we do and every book that we announce, we will both be giving away 3 copies of the book to 3 of you, and all you need to do to enter is just make sure you're subscribed and comment on this video. And don't forget that when you commented on this video, head on over to Katie's video as well and say hello to her and join in with the conversation, because then you've got a double chance of winning as well, which is ace. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited to get stuck into this next book, and I'm loving the fact that it's kind of like pushing me to keep on reading. But have a lovely day whatever you're up to, and I will hopefully see you next time.